It's a pleasure to welcome Shakin Stevens to noise11.com, and I've been trying to think of a clever way to introduce you. What about to refresh the parts other singers cannot reach?
That'll do for me. Whatever.
That was one of your old, I think, television commercials at one point, way back in time.
Okay. So back, I can't remember.
Well, you should be able to have a perfect memory of everything you've done, because in this box set, Fire in the Blood, the definitive collection, not only 266 tracks, 19 CDs, but also a hardcover book in there. How exhaustive was the book and the story?
Well, we're still working on it. We started in January, would you believe, but we're still doing it. We're more or less there, but it's just a few, little bits here and there to do, and I think we'll certainly be ready for November 27th. I think that's the date it's being released.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can probably assume then that the Heineken beer commercial where that line came from probably won't get a mention. So that's gone from history.
Okay, I'd like to say there's also there's the first live concert. I've never had a live concert out before, and that's on there as well from 2019. There's also a live concert from 1980 from Radio 1, the radio over here. There's also a double vinyl with 26 tracks on, and also 54 of tracks have singled out. I've never done anything like this as big, so it's a big bumper for Christmas.
It sounds like you've been working on this project all year, if not longer. What was involved in the curation of this box set?
Well, first of all, there were quite a lot of tracks that had to be remastered, digitally remastered, so they got more. They don't lose their punch in the tracks. We get involved soon. I get involved also with the photos that's chosen and that, and the biog, and also there's going to be a TV advertising. So we like to be hands-on things.
It goes back a way. It doesn't go back all the way. I believe the first single would have been Spirit of Woodstock. So you don't go back to those really early songs from the start of the 1970s.
All right. No, we're not doing Shakin Stevens and the Sunsets. It's a solo tracks really of just the artist. But having said that, there's the track album that I did with Track Records. That's on there as well, and there's also the singles. Never, Somebody Touched Me. All those early singles are on there as well.
You mentioned Somebody Touched Me. Now, that was a minor hit in Australia. And when I was going through looking at the discography of Shakin Stevens, am I correct in saying that maybe Australia gave you your very first chart hit?
Paul, you're absolutely smack on there. Absolutely right. I didn't know, and a lot of other people didn't know that it charted. So I got the news from a kind of a hits book, and I couldn't believe my eyes. I saw it there. Somebody Touched Me. So in retrospect, my first single hit was in Australia.
Which must have been surprising, because you've been working for, I think, nearly 11 years before This Ole House came out. And when I say working, you've been recording for 11 years when This Ole House came out. Was there a time there where you thought, maybe I'm going to be a performing artist, not a recording artist?
Well, I wanted to be a singer from the very, very beginning when I was in school. When I left school, I was straight into bands, guys in the street, saying, let's get a band together. And I was in several bands, and so it was in my blood, really. Hence, Fire in the Blood.
From what I can gather, back in the really, really, really early days, you even got a support role with the Rolling Stones.
Yeah, that was great. That was really, really hoot. That was. I think how that happened was the manager at the time of the Shakin Stevens and the Sunsets. It was a paper called Melody Maker, and John Lennon wore this white suit in Canada, similar to the one that Chuck Berry wore. And I think it was just something like, if you bring that suit, come along and join us at the gig. Well, he went on from that. The Rolling Stones got to hear about about this in the Melody Maker, I think it was at the time, and they said, "God, these people, they're out of sight." So anyway, it happened, and the next thing I know, we were doing a university in Cardiff, and the Stones sent a person down there to check us out to see if we were any good. And the next thing I knew, we were doing. We did the London show, 2 shows. I think it was an afternoon and an evening. And the great thing about it, when we arrived at London in the Seville Theatre, there was the Stones and Mick Jagger. They were singing stuff like High School Confidential and all the rock and roll songs. It was great. Maybe they were trying to, make us feel at home, but lovely bunch of guys. And after that, I've worked with Keith Richards as well, and on concerts and stuff. So it's there's kind of a touch thing there, really. I mean, basically, they're down to earth. They're rhythm and blues, come rock and roll, or whatever you want to call it, really. And they're very nice guys, and they're very rootsy guys. They've done a lot for the music in kind of ways, bringing the blues guys back.
Well, that's right. If you go back to the origins of the Rolling Stones and those first few albums, they were doing a lot of rock and roll covers out of the United States, pretty similar to what you were doing through the 80s. Yeah.
Well, they were taking the music back to America, but they didn't dress the same as those guys in the early days.
When you had a couple of songs that came along, Hot Dog and Maria Maria, that broke into the UK. That must have been a fun feeling at that time when suddenly there's your name in the top 40 charts in your own country.
It was amazing. It was a long time coming, really. It was a long road. But yeah, it was a great feeling. It got into the top 30, which is a start. And then Marie Marie came along. And that was the one basically that opened it up for me in Europe. And it stayed in the charts in Germany for 9 months, which is unbelievable, really. And then after that, of course, This Ole House was the one that kicked it off internationally.
Yep, and This Ole House, I remember playing that on the radio, the 7-inch vinyl. We had to get the old vinyl out of its cover and onto the turntable and lift the needle across and play the record on the radio. That's what radio was like in 1981.
Nothing wrong with that, is there really? Nothing like it, is there really?
It still sounds good today. Yeah. As you said, that was your first chart hit. That was an old Rosemary Clooney song. Were you a fan of the song or a fan of the person?
Well, This Ole House, when I was growing up as a kid, really, basically, we had a program on radio, of course, and they used to do a mixture of different songs and that. And the one they did play was Rosemary Clooney, but that song is also Stuart Hamlin was the writer. Many versions of that song, of that particular song. But we were looking for tracks for an album. And I actually sat down with a producer and we went through loads and loads of records. And basically this popped up. I think the one that I heard was NRBQ. And I ended up doing a version of myself. And I was very, very pleased with it. Very, very pleased.
It was a really bizarre story to that lyric, wasn't it? I think it was the song of a body of a man found in a hut in the mountains. The guy who wrote it, Stuart Hamblin, was a hunting buddy of John Wayne. There's a real history and bizarre story to that song.
Apparently, yeah, it was all kind of, it was a true story as well, apparently. It was in the mountains, you say, with all the snow and that, and you could actually see that the family did live there. And yeah, that's where he got the idea from. But so many people has recorded This Ole House. It's unbelievable how many covers there was. But I was pleased with the result of mine.
Yeah. The other one you would have been very pleased with was the number one you had with "You Drive Me Crazy." That was a number one song in Australia as well. And I believe there was a Chinese version of that. Did you ever hear the Chinese version of your song?
No, I did not. I did not. But yes, I'm open to any covers really on a track of mine. Really, never heard that one. But there are bands that's recorded it. Unknown bands have done quite a few of my hits of their own as well. It caught the attention of a lot of people. Really, "You Drive Me Crazy." When I first heard it, it was written by Ronnie Harwood, and as soon as I heard it, it was very, 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 very hooky, and I thought, wow, I'm going to record that. And also, there was a program on in over here where they used to kind of play records, and there used to be a kind of a panel, and they choose, which one they liked. And one of the guys on the panel on this particular day was Phil Everly. And he said, wow, he said, I really like that. He said, I can imagine somebody driving the car down the boulevard, turn the radio up, "You Drive Me Crazy." He said, yeah, I love it. So I was very pleased with that. I've still got the cassettes in those days. I've still got him saying that on a cassette somewhere, So it was a great thrill. Great thrill.
There's so many great stories in the lyrics of the songs you cover. I was trying to work out the truth behind the story in Green Door and where that actually ends up. I can't seem to find the exact story that it is about. I see it's about a person who can't get to sleep because of the noise behind a green door in the club next door. A lesbian club is one other theory. A club in Dallas, a tavern in Prohibition. Do you actually know the story of where the green door was?
There's loads and loads and loads of stories. I can't think of them at the moment, but the guy that actually wrote it, he sent me his transcripts of when he was writing the words down to Green Door, and it was quite interesting to see, because apparently he had brown door, he had a red door, and a green, and to receive those lyrics from that writer was a big thrill and honor, really. He did love the recording that I did, but so I treasure that very dearly. But the stories, the stories go on. When people say, "What's behind the green door?" and I said, "Well, if you had a good listen, there's a piano behind there."
One of the songs you will know the meaning behind, "Oh Julie," because you wrote "Oh Julie." So who was Julie?
Well, there was nobody in particular. It's just a name. It could have been any name, really. And but Julie came into mind. I don't know why. Maybe it fitted with the next line or whatever,
And Barry Manilow did a cover of that version.
He did, yeah. That was quite. If anybody I thought would cover "Old Julie," it wouldn't have been Barry Manilow. So it was quite a shock. But he did a kind of a good version on it. So and he liked it. So. Good to him. Julie. It captured a lot of people. A lot of people like that song. It sold very, very well. I'm very, very pleased that people. I still do it now in the set. I can't leave it out of the set. There's certain songs you can't leave out of the set, like Marie Marie, Julie, "You Drive Me Crazy." We do them slightly in a different way now. Like Green Door is more kind of. Rhythm and blues, kind of a shuffle thing, with a harmonica on there and stuff. So we take the hits in a different way and turn it away. We could put a slide guitar on it, make it more kind of rootsy and more, because I asked when I was in concert, last in concert, I asked one of the fans there and said, "But what? Did you ever buy Green Door?" She said, "Of course, bought the Green Door. Which one do you prefer now, that one or this one?" They said, "Well, I like the one first, well, obviously, because I bought it. But hey, I like this one. I like the way this goes as well." It kind of, I feel it's nice to kind of make them a bit more fresh and a bit more interesting for, because when you pull in another crowd, it's good to do that, really. So it becomes more kind of rootsy than pop, and it seems to work.
Is Cry just a little bit another one of those songs that you must play in your set list?
especially in Poland. Poland is they did go actually. It did go very well in Poland and Denmark. Quite a lot of countries liked Cried Just a Little Bit and really latched onto it. I would explain Cried Just a Little Bit, how that came around. It was written by the writer of Merry Christmas, Everyone. He sent it down, and he did very, very good demos, and of course we re-recorded it. But the jocks or the DJs, whatever they call them now, were saying that this is a new path for Shakin Stevens, and I guess it's kind of different from the stuff I was doing before, but it sold very well, and it captured the public a lot.
You mentioned Merry Christmas, Everybody there. The Christmas songs of Shakin Stevens are very much part of this box set, aren't they?
They are indeed. They're all there. They're all there, and tracks there that's being released for the first time as well. You know, so it's quite a, you know, as I said earlier on, there's tracks that I did with the Blues Show with Paul Jones. There's a recording of the one songs from Echoes of Our Times. It's endless. It's endless. It goes on and on and on and on, and I'm very, very pleased with it.
But there's a song, Wild at Heart, which is your current single, your current song out at the moment. When was that recorded, and why didn't it come out at the time?
It just didn't seem to be right at the time, and also as well, it was a situation where it happened, and then I went on to a different project, and I can't remember, you know, what the next project was, but it was probably something like Echoes of Our Times, which took a lot of time up, and very pleased with that album, and very personal.
You're always paired very well with other artists. I particularly think of A Rockin' Good Way with Bonnie Tyler on there. She was a huge star at the time, as you were. That was quite a big duet, I recall, on radio at the time.
Yes, it was. It was indeed. I was working with a guy called Neil. I can't think of his second name, but we had 11 tracks. And we need, in those days, I think it was people used to put 12 tracks on an album. We were short on one track, so we were going through tracks, and we got onto duets. So he was mentioning duets, I was mentioning duet names, and we kind of both come up with the idea of Rockin' Good Way. So I recorded that many years ago. He said about I wasn't happy the way it turned out. And I said, well, I love the track, you know, two great singers. It's all there. It's the full package. It's very, very catchy. So let's give it a go. And we did. And the rest is history.
When you recorded Teardrops in 1984, you had an English guitarist on that song who is now an Australian guitarist because he lives in Perth now, Hank B. Marvin.
That's right. Yeah. Basically, the track was the demo was basically there, but on the solo guitar, I was hearing a kind of a style like Hank Marvin, and like Santa and Johnny as well. You know, that kind of approach, and. I did a quiz, a showing in the UK, and Hank was on the same panel, and I put it to him and I said, "I've got this song." And I said, "It's you all, it's you all over for the solo," and I said, "Would you be interested in playing the solo?" And he said, "Yes, of course." And I couldn't believe my eyes. I thought, my ears, I mean, as well. And we went down to the studio in Hank's studio. And Bonfi put the solo guitar on it and knocked out, very pleased. And the rest is history, I guess. Again, you know, it's, and I'm pleased with the song, And it's not the first duet person I've had names on the records. So it was great to get Hank on there, really. I mean, in the very, very early days, I was helping this woman delivering bread, in I was very, very, very young, and you'd hear the Shadows on the radio. Who would have thought that Hank Marvin would be playing on one of my records? I mean, bottling.
Fantastic stuff. About 10 years ago, I think it was, you got to do, you got a spot at Glastonbury. Describe getting up at a festival like that, such a huge, iconic festival in the UK, a very young audience. It must have been amazing getting up there with all those hits that you've got and performing them to a lot of people that would have been seeing you for the very first time.
Yeah, it was amazing, really. And we got there, we did our quick sound check because when we got there was no people there at all. So that was quite worrying. They were probably in their tents or, still sleeping from the night before or whatever. But because you didn't do any sound checks with Glastonbury. So we were there, we just went on the stage and just checked things and stuff like that. So we had like a half hour to go before the people. But I'm thinking, well, where's the people? I was getting concerned. And finally, the guy came round and said, right, get ready. You're on. I want you all by the side of the stage. I looked out there and it was absolutely packed. Where they come from, I don't know. But earlier on, we were all having a kind of a bit of a twitch. We was thinking, God, where's the audience? It was great. They had somebody brought a big green door along in the audience and that, and no, it went down very, very well. Very, very pleased.
Oh, well, so green door in the audience. You could have finally found out what was behind that green door.
I could have, yeah, probably more people.
Shakin Stevens, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you. We have the new box set, Fire in the Blood, the definitive collection, for people who still have a bit of strength in their arms that can carry something that big home. For those who aren't as strong as that, there's the singles collection as well, all in time for Christmas 2020.
Yeah. Yes, it was a pleasure to go through all the tracks as well and hear them all again, which was a long progress, as you can imagine, with 266 tracks, etc. And I found that very, very enjoyable. I think it's come at the right time for Christmas, and with this dreaded COVID that's out there, it's a hope that the people that buy it I get a lot of pleasure out of it. Like and my partner had a lot of pleasure out of being involved with BMG to make it. I'm very proud of it.
Fantastic stuff. Thanks for joining us at Noise 11.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.